Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you
Arthropod,
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 Arthropod. Presented to you by Mac, Melody, Amanda, Allison, and Karen.
So what are arthropods? The term arthropod means jointed foot in Latin, and approximately 80% of animal species are arthropods. Arthropods have exoskeletons and are invertebrates, meaning they do not have a backbone. Subphylums. The phylum Arthropoda is divided into 4 subphylums: Chelicerata, Hexapoda, crustaceans, and Myriapoda, which are all characterized by jointed limbs and cuticles. Some examples of chelicerates include spiders, scorpions, mites, and horseshoe crabs. Examples of hexapods include beetles, butterflies, moths, ants, and flies. Examples of crustaceans include crabs, lobsters, shrimp, and barnacles. And examples of myriapods include millipedes and centipedes. Here are 4 examples of taxonomic classifications of arthropods: southern black widow, house centipede, American lobster, and monarch butterfly. General characteristics. Arthropods are cold-blooded, meaning their body temperature depends on the temperature of their environment. They are generally characterized by exoskeletons, segmented bodies, jointed limbs, many limbs, and bilateral symmetry. Their exoskeletons are made up of protein, chitin, and responsible for acting like a shield and protecting the organs. It is periodically molted or shed as the arthropod grows. Their segmented bodies and many jointed appendages allow them to move very quickly.
General cell anatomy. Arthropods are made up of eukaryotic animal cells. Their cells are very similar to humans since they contain endoplasmic reticulum, a nucleus, a nucleolus, cell membrane, cytoplasm, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, ribosomes, and vacuoles. Body plan. Arthropods are coelomates, which means that they have body cavities filled with a fluid called coelom. Their organs are connected to their body walls. Their segmented bodies means that they are divided into repetitive sections and can function properly without a single segment damaged. Their organs are connected to their body walls using mesenteries. Evolution. Approximately 500 to 600 million years ago, an evolutionary burst of various organisms occurred, and it is referred to as the Cambrian explosion. This took place during the Cambrian period, where all life was aquatic, and most animals were relatively small and had unusual body structures. For example, Sanctocaris, which translates to holy shrimp, grew to 9 centimeters and caught prey using its spiny mouth appendages. Sanctocaris was most likely a chelicerate which started in the Precambrian seas and invaded land more than 400 million years ago. The mother of all arthropods has been suspected to be protoannelids, which are ringed segmented worms and have evolved more than once. However, since they had soft bodies, they decayed rapidly, so scientists aren't 100% sure. Arthropods have also evolved to be relatively small. Their exoskeletons are hard and non-living, so they cannot grow within their exoskeletons. Instead, arthropods must go through a delicate process of shedding their old exoskeleton and growing before the new exoskeleton hardens. This process is known as molting. During the process, when their exoskeleton has not fully developed, large arthropods without support from their exoskeletons will deform due to the force of gravity, and this will make them easy prey for predators. General feeding strategies. Arthropods are heterotrophs. However, with the numerous species of arthropods, there are varying modes of nutrition. Some arthropods are filter feeders. For example, copepods and smaller shrimp that feed on plankton and suspended materials by rhythmically using setae to draw in food sources to filter and transfer to their mouths. Furthermore, some arthropods are detrivores, which means that they decompose plant and animal parts, which also includes feces. And other arthropods can also be carnivores, herbivores, omnivores, and parasites.
Chelicerate feeding strategies. Many chelicerates, such as scorpions and spiders, suck liquid food from their prey due to their inability to eat solids due to their narrow gut. Instead, they expel enzymes onto their prey to liquefy them so the prey can be ingested. Some unique characteristics that only chelysrids share is the presence of only two body segments, which are the cephalothorax and abdomen. They have 6 pairs of jointed appendages, 4 pairs for moving, and 2, which are chelicerae and pedipalps. Furthermore, chelysrids do not have antennae or mandibles, which are also known as a jawbone. Chelysrids are divided into the following taxonomic groups: horseshoe crabs, Meristomata, sea spiders, Cynogonida, and arachnids, Arachnida.
Hexapoda characteristics. All hexapods are heterotrophs. However, with the numerous species of hexapods, there are different modes of nutrition. Hexapods can also be herbivores, detrivores, carnivores, decomposers, or parasites. One of the most well-known hexapods, which are the bees, are herbivores and eat nectar from flowers. All hexapods have the distinguishing characteristic of having 6 legs and are made up of the following 3 body sections: the head, thorax, and abdomen. Their head has 2 eyes, 2 antennae, and several mouthparts. Their mouthparts consist of various parts such as the labrum, labium, mandibles, and maxillae. Many hexapods also have compound eyes.
Crustacean characteristics. Despite common belief, crustaceans can actually live in 3 types of ecosystems, such as marine, for example crabs, freshwater, for example water fleas, and terrestrial, for example isopods. Crustaceans come in a variety of colors and patterns. Most planktonic crustaceans are transparent, but some are self-luminescent. Crustaceans can be carnivores, herbivores, scavengers, or seaborne parasitic, but most are omnivores. Some utilize their claws to catch food, while others use the methods of filter feeding. For example, copepods and smaller shrimp feed on planktons and suspended materials by using setae rhythmically to draw in food sources to filter and transfer to the mouth. All crustaceans have the distinguishing characteristics of 5 pairs of jointed head appendages, 2 pairs of antennae, 2 pairs of maxillae, and fewer body segments since the head is fused to the thorax. The other appendages on the trunk vary depending on the species. For example, lobsters have antennae for sensory, mandibles assisted by maxillae and maxillipeds for chewing, chiliped for defense, periopods for walking, and pleopods for swimming. Their digestive system is usually a straight passageway, but it also could be coiled or a very complex gastric mill, which is several movable teeth made of chitin in the pharynx, which is the stomach, that creates a grinding apparatus. Their respiratory system differs on their size. The tiny crustaceans exchange gases across a thin cuticle, whereas the larger crustaceans exchange gases through feather-like gills. Crustaceans have a simple excretory system to remove nitrogenous body wastes like ammonia and urea through antennal or maxillary glands, also known as green glands. Their sensory system contains chemical and tactile receptors, compound eyes, statocysts, and tactile hairs to detect light, shape, and movements.
There are currently 4 living classes in the Myriapoda subphylum, including class Chilopoda, Diplopoda, Pauropoda, and Symphyla. All myriapods from different classes have unique features that distinguish their class. However, the key characteristics for a majority of myriapods include many pairs of legs with 1 or 2 pairs on each segment, 2 body sections composed of a head and a trunk, 1 pair of antennae on a head, simple eyes, mandibles, and maxillae, and the respiratory exchange occurs through the tracheal system. Chilopoda, also known as centipedes, are carnivores, feeding on insects and worms. They catch their prey with their poisonous claws on their first segment of their body. And for Diplopoda, also known as millipedes, with a majority of them herbivores, they feed on decayed plant matter or living plants. Millipedes are primarily slow-moving and detrivores, feeding on things like leaf litter and other decaying dead plant matter.
The reproductive strategies and life cycles of arthropods. Most species of arthropods have 2 separate genders, male and female, but some species are neither. Arthropods can reproduce normally using sexual reproduction. However, there are also some unique methods such as parthenogenesis, a form of asexual reproduction, viverity, where the embryo grows within the mother's body until they reach a stage where they are readily independent, polyembryony, where a single fertilized egg forms several embryos. And another unique way to reproduce is the use of spermatophores. which are sealed packets containing sperm that are then transferred to the females. Some species place spermatophores within the ground for the female to find.
Arthropods begin as eggs and can follow several different life cycles depending on the group. Some hatch as miniature adults while others hatch as nymphs and develop by stages into adults. Furthermore, others hatch as larvae and enter a resting stage as pupae, during which they may be enclosed in a cocoon and go through internal changes before emerging as adults. During their various developmental stages, known as metamorphosis, arthropods may shed their outer covering several times.
Applications of representative organisms. Arthropods are also food for humans. Some people keep arthropods such as centipedes, beetles, and spiders as pets. They are used for many things, such as entertainment. An example is butterflies, which are an attraction in zoos and butterfly watching. They can create many common products such as honey, beeswax, and silk. Arthropods were an inspiration in jewelry making, such as shown by how the Egyptians used scarabs. They played a large role in the exports from coastal communities to China. In addition, the exoskeleton of crustaceans contain a sugar called chitosan. Chitosan is used in medicine for cholesterol problems, insomnia, dental care, and fillers in pharmaceutical drugs to improve solubility and mask bitter tastes. They can also be used as a defense mechanism and a fertilizer in agriculture. In addition, arthropods are often highly nutritious. However, not all arthropods are beneficial to us. Arthropods are significant carriers of diseases such as malaria, yellow fever, dengue fever, elephantitis via mosquitoes, typhus fever via lice, bubonic plague via fleas, and many diseases of domesticated animals are transmitted by arthropods. General ecological importance of kingdom. Arthropods are a popular food source for many organisms. They are also key in process of decomposing decaying organic matter and returning the nutrients to the ground. In addition, millipedes feed on decaying or dead plants, which benefits the recycling and nutrients. They help with the balance of biodiversity by being sources of food, as well as helping control the population of other organisms. Butterflies and bees, which are keystone species, have an important role of pollinating plants, which are vital food sources for various organisms. Approximately 2/3 of all flowering plants are pollinated, for example, mites. Small planktonic crustaceans like copepods are a major link in the food chain, and they support the whole aquatic ecosystem because they are one of the main initial food sources for aquatic animals during the first stages of life. They can also transform microscopic marine vegetation into edible food sources. Furthermore, plankton play a large role on the marine ecosystem. They are responsible for approximately 50% of global plant production and the removal of carbon dioxide on the earth.
Effects of human activity on biodiversity. A common human activity is the use of pesticides and herbicides that farmers use to remove pests and weeds. It kills arthropods that live in the surrounding soil or rely on the surrounding water due to the pesticides. It also kills many arthropods that use crops and flowers as means of nutrition and reproducing. An example of this is the monarch butterfly, who needs the milkweed plant to survive. It lays its egg on the milkweed plants, and their caterpillars also rely on the milkweed for food. However, due to the widespread use of herbicides that kills milkweed, the number of monarch butterflies has shown to dwindle. Humans pollute and contaminate many oceans as a side effect of their actions. This affects the many water arthropods, including crustaceans, such as shrimps, crabs, lobsters, prawns, water fleas, barnacles, and krill. An example is the BP oil spill disaster in the Gulf, which led the populations of surrounding blue crabs to critical conditions. Blue crabs are responsible for managing the population of species they prey on, such as mussels, fish, snails, plants, and other organisms. This also unfortunately leads to global warming, which causes water temperature changes influencing the sex of certain species, leading to imbalanced ratio, and the rise of invasive species populations in areas of temperature change, and the impacts the breeding seasons and appetite of species. Urbanization requires deforestation, which damages habitats and ecosystems. This includes the ecosystems in the rainforest, which are known to contain a vast variety of species, including arthropods. Deforestation can cause the extinction of many species, which would lower biodiversity.
Thank you for watching!